Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is directed by a genius and stars other geniuses. After Christopher Robin abandons them for college, Pooh and Piglet embark on a bloody rampage as they revert to their more animalistic natures. The minute that Winnie the Pooh entered the public domain, and the second after that this movie was announced, every single person who loves film had a different reaction to the announcement. Some thought it was going to be awesome, some thought it was going to be terrible, and for the most part, they pretty much had the same reasonings behind whether it was going to be awesome or terrible. And I was fully in that awesome party. I thought the idea for this movie was so ridiculous and so stupid, there was no possible way that it could not have been entertaining as hell. And going into the movie theater and coming back out of it, oh my god. Sitting down in this movie theater, I experienced nirvana. I was with the hosts of heaven. There was no before, there was no after. There was only now, watching Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And throughout the entirety of the 100-minute runtime of this film, no matter how many people I saw walk out of the theater, I was so engaged in what I was experiencing that to walk out would have been a sin. Let us start with the acting. Masterful. I never thought that they could make robots that looked so human and yet acted so robotic in my entire life. I never thought I would see such a marvel in my lifetime. And yet here it was, up on the big screen, and I had the honor of experiencing it myself. No matter the relationships that the characters had to each other, no matter how long most of them were supposed to have known each other, their relationships in the movie and their chemistry were so paper thin and so wooden and so cardboard. It was truly the cinematic and acting equivalent of watching paint dry. On the surface, you could perfectly see this as one of the worst ensemble movies ever put to screen in the past decade, but when you truly look further into it, it is magnificent. The directing and the cinematography and the lighting, also things of absolute beauty in this film. So much horrible blocking when it comes to the characters and the actors that half of the time when a character is in frame, their face is completely blocked out because the lighting is so horrifically done. Or the fact that the lighting and framing of so many shots are so inconsistent that there were multiple times in the theater where I legitimately thought the aspect ratio changed. But it didn't. They were merely entering another setting. Pure genius. And the characters in the film, so well fleshed out with the one sentence of backstory that most of them have, and the structure of the film constantly whiplashing between tones, the pacing of the film so slow and so tedious in many parts of it, and so conjointed in its structure of storytelling and character building that it is truly something to behold. And the score for this movie, so choir-heavy, so dark, and so intense, and so serious, that it's when people look at movie soundtracks where the scores practically made the films, they will look at Star Wars, they will look at Lord of the Rings, and they will also look at Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. And when it comes to the main villains of the movie, Winnie the Pooh and Piglet themselves, they are truly one of the greatest horror villains ever put to screen. The fact that the costumes that make up Pooh and Piglet in this film are so cheap that half of the time you can see the actor's skin underneath the costumes. It is truly harkens back to the more simplistic times of horror movie villains, such as Ghostface or Jason Voorhees. And the little tidbits of character growth between Winnie the Pooh and the adult version of Christopher Robin fit like a glove onto this film, especially in a scene earlier where Winnie the Pooh undresses a woman, bashes her head in, and then sticks her into a shredder. My heart mourns every time I even think of one of those emotionally heavy scenes. And when it comes to the scares and the kills in this movie, they are so over the top, so without subtlety, so disgusting in their depravity that they will truly stick with you as one of the great masters of horror. The scariest scenes in all of cinema shall henceforth go as follows: the chestburster scene from Aliens, the scary twins from The Shining, and Winnie the Pooh pouring honey onto a woman only so Piglet can eat her from Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. This movie, no, nay, this film is a true work of art. A film that must have had every effort put into it to be so hilariously bad that it sticks out in the mind as one of the greatest things ever put on film. Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is like watching the birth of a star. It's so chaotic, so full of death and destruction, and yet so beautiful. I cannot simply give this movie a grade. To simply call this movie F, D, C, B, or even A would be a mockery to this movie. No, we need to go to tier list sort of rankings. This movie has gone beyond A tier. It has gone beyond S tier. This movie, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, is Goku tier. The creators of this film seek to make this a sort of cinematic universe in a way, much like Marvel or DC, but better because it's their creation. They already have plans to make Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey 2, in which case I will gladly go bankrupt and enter every single cent in my bank account to invest into these works of art. Thank you all so much for watching. You are all the best. And don't forget to click subscribe and click the bell icon to stay up to date for all things movie, all things TV, all things nerd. Where did I go for a couple minutes there?